Hey, Draper Patriots! Today we're going to be looking at multiplying decimals. That's right, you've done this one before too. It's just a review. It's a practice. You got this. To multiply decimals, you do not line up the decimals. I repeat, you do not line up the decimals. Let's look at this in an example. Hey guys, this video is going to be multiplying decimals. I want to point out a couple things for you to remember, and then we're going to work this out to show you how it looks. First thing to remember is when you're multiplying decimals, you do not line up the decimals. I'll repeat. When you're multiplying decimals, you do not line up the decimals. The second thing is, don't forget the decimal, and I'll show you what I mean by that at the end. So first thing I'm going to do is, this problem is currently written horizontal. I want it written vertical. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my 3 2/10. And underneath it, I'm going to put my 2200ths. Now, that rule number 1 I just showed you, the decimals here are not lined up. I lined up my numbers, not my decimals. Okay, keep that in mind when you multiply decimals. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to find out how many decimal spots we're working with here. What that means is, on this 3 2/10, I currently have one number after the decimal. So I'm going to put a 1 over here. I'm counting how many numbers are after the decimals. On this 2200ths, I have 1, 2 numbers after the decimal. So I'm going to put a 2 here. Again, this 1 is how many numbers are after the decimal on 3 2/10. This 2 is how many numbers are after the decimal on the 2200ths. And then 1 plus 2, of course, is going to give me a 3. We're going to leave this here for a minute. We'll come back to it, and it has to do with our last step. Okay, now we're going to go back to the problem. I want to multiply like I normally would, but ignore the decimals for the time being now. Since we've already counted that, we're going to ignore the decimals. We're just going to multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. Don't forget the 0. 2 times 2, again, is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we're going to add these together. 4 plus 0 is 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. So you're going to put the 0, carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. Most of you would probably stop here and say, I'm done. The answer is 704. And that would be incorrect because of number 2 that I remind you of. Don't forget your decimal. If you have decimals up here, that means there's going to be a decimal down here. Now, currently, since we ignore the decimal, that technically would say the decimal is right there, which is wrong. We have to go back to this 3. Some of you learned this as what is called the final countdown. It's the final countdown! What that means is the number we put over here, in this case at 3, is how many times we need to move the decimal. There's a 3 there. The decimal is technically here, so we're going to move it 1, 2, 3. The decimal is now over there. The answer would be 704 thousandths. Now, again, the reminders, do not line up your decimals. Again, as you can see, my decimals here and here, they were not lined up. Lined up means up and down, straight up and down. They were not lined up. Number 2, don't forget to put the decimal back into your answer. Use this method if you need to count to help you out with the final countdown. And I'll go ahead and add this one in too. I've seen some of you guys forget to put that 0 back in there. Don't forget that 0. Okay, thank you for watching this video. If you need any help, let us know, and I'll see you on tomorrow's.